Ukraine is launching mass production of its own Tomahawk.
A very powerful long-range weapon, and it already exists. This is key, and the rest we will find out when the time comes.
The Flamingo cruise missile can reach Moscow, St. Petersburg, and even beyond the Urals.
We are moving to fundamentally new positions, where we will operate on equal footing. So if they strike our military-industrial complex, we will strike the Russian military-industrial complex with the same intensity.
Its truly enormous operational range and impressively powerful warhead promise many unpleasant and unexpected surprises for the Russian invaders operating deep behind enemy lines. What are the technical specifications of Ukraine's Flamingo? How will the new cruise missile change the balance of power in the Ukrainian and, more importantly, Russian skies? And which targets are the pink birds already aimed at? All this and more coming up in Arsenal. June 13th, 1944. Nazi Germany launches the first V-1, also known as the Fieseler Fi-103, towards London. The V-1 became the first cruise missile, or as it was called at the time, a flying bomb, to be used in combat. The Nazis called their bomb a weapon of vengeance. In the remaining months of 1944, Berlin launched about 20,000 V-1s at London. After the end of World War II, the Allies began to study the Nazi developments. After some time, copies of the German V-1 appeared in the USSR, the USA, and France. In fact, it was the German V-1 that became the ancestor of all modern cruise missiles.
A historical specimen, you see, like the Wright brothers airplane. So this V-1 missile was very simple, but it could be launched both from ground-based launchers using a solid fuel booster. Yes, that's how it was launched. And it was also launched from He-111 bombers. That's it. So basically, the entire history of cruise missiles begins with the V-1.
As journalists have discovered, the Flamingo cruise missile intended for mass production has already been manufactured at the Firepoint Company's facilities. In the near future, the Ukrainian Defense Forces will begin actively using this long-range weapon against the Russian invaders.
There are some preliminary estimates. I can share a few insider details. About 50 of these missiles can be produced each month. This is an impressive figure, and it's important to remember that this is far from the only missile that has entered serial production.
The Ukrainian Flamingo is the FP-5 cruise missile developed by Millennium Group, a company headquartered in the United Arab Emirates. This missile model was first showcased at the IDEX 2025 exhibition in February of this year.
This is a conventional cruise missile. It has been somewhat simplified to enable rapid mass production. Well, generally speaking, cruise missiles are usually launched from containers or from aircraft. But it's difficult for us to launch a heavy missile from an aircraft, right? In container launches, well, they require the engine and wings to be placed inside the missile's body. That's not very convenient. If we want to maximize the internal volume for placing explosives, then of course it's better to do it the way it's done here, with fixed wings and the engine mounted above the fuselage, also outside the missile's body.
Unlike missiles with folding wings that are launched from a transport launch container, the Flamingo is launched from a vertical guide structure onto which the missile is mounted for subsequent launch. This significantly simplifies production, but the downside is the long pre-launch preparation time, which ranges from 20 to 40 minutes.
A solid fuel booster powerfully propels the missile to a certain predetermined altitude. At that precise point, the main engine is effectively activated, and the missile diligently continues its flight, gradually descending to an optimal operational altitude, usually about 50 meters, then meticulously proceeds along its intended route, using its comprehensive onboard fuel and its powerful main engine.
When it comes to internal components, the Flamingo is significantly different from most of its cruise missile counterparts. The warhead of the Flamingo weighs over a ton, making it more powerful than the legendary Tomahawk. The American Democracy Axe has a warhead of only 450 kilograms.
Usually, the warhead of a modern cruise missile weighs about 450, at most 500 kilograms. As a rule, almost all missiles have a warhead of 450 kilograms. What does a one-ton warhead provide? When it hits a target, for example, an industrial facility, 2 such missiles can completely disable it for at least a year. That is, there will be a single crater about 20 meters in diameter.
Previously, long-range strikes were carried out using drones, and in the case of a Russian oil refinery, a drone strike would halt operations for several weeks or months. A strike by the Flamingo would leave nothing but ashes of a Russian oil refinery.
If the strike hits an oil refinery, it will be impossible to restore that refinery. In other words, if before, when a drone hit, you could, after a few weeks or a month, replace the damaged parts with spares, right? Here, everything will be destroyed down to the ground. The entire distillation column will be completely destroyed. That's it. And with just 2 pairs of such missiles, all that will be left of the refinery are memories.
A warhead weighing 1,150 kilograms and a range of over 3,000 kilometers make it possible to destroy virtually any target deep inside territory that was previously completely out of reach for Ukrainian strike capabilities, including long-range drones. Not only Moscow, St. Petersburg and the rest of European Russia fall within the strike radius, but also major industrial cities beyond the Urals, such as Yekaterinburg, Nizhny Tagil, Chelyabinsk and Omsk.
90% of the defense industry enterprises are within the range of this missile. And everything depends solely on the rate at which they are produced. In addition, ballistic missiles and jet-powered drones are expected.
At the moment, the following technical specifications of the Ukrainian Flamingo are known. The missile weighs about 6 tons, the warhead is 1,150 kilograms, and the strike range is 3,000 kilometers. The Flamingo flies at a speed of 950 kilometers per hour. The wingspan is 6 meters. The guidance system is combined, satellite navigation and inertial. And although the missile's internal components are relatively simple and lack complex visual guidance systems like those found in Western counterparts, it is protected against Russian electronic warfare, and its specifications are optimal for destroying large targets in Russia's military, industrial and energy complexes.
The appearance of this missile, therefore, puts us on equal footing. Soon we'll also have ballistic missiles, rocket systems and drones, and then we'll truly be on equal terms. If a strike is carried out on our industrial facility, a strike will hit a Russian industrial facility in return. That's how it is. So, we'll see. But we receive weapons from Europe, while Russia produces them itself, or at worst, gets them from North Korea.
That's all for now. Don't forget to write in the comments which types of weapons you'd like to learn more about. Like this video and, of course, subscribe to our Arsenal channel. The link is in the description below the video.